Yes, guys, welcome to Primetime Analysis. I am your host, Victor Onyango. 5,000 years ago, there was this community that lived in a place in isolation. They had their own way of doing things, and they did not mix easily with their neighbors. Israel was a nation that originally was led by God. But when they saw that their neighbors prospered and they were led by kings who are humans, they also wanted to feel this kind of leadership. This led to them rebelling against Prophet Samuel and to their God. When they went to him, they told Samuel that we want a leader who looks like us. We don't want to be led by a leader whom we cannot see. We want a leader we can talk to directly, a leader who has experienced the things we are experiencing. And this led to them having new leadership. But before they were given that opportunity, a warning was passed to them. Samuel told them that the leader you are calling for will use your sons in his army and chariots. He will take up your farmlands, your grapes and your vineyards, and give it to his friends. When Israelites heard this, they said, no, we want a leader who looks like us. When Samuel went to God, God told him that tell the Israelites that the leader they are calling for today will be very ruthless to them, and he will not have mercy on them. This leader will punish them, and it will reach a time when they will come back crying for me to help them and save them from their own king. When Samuel told this to the Israelites, they said, we want a king who looks like us. Fellow Kenyans, Prophet Uhuru Kenyatta warned Kenyans and told us to be very careful when selecting our king. As normal and as Israelites, we thought that he wanted to decide for us how we are putting our votes. Today, we are looking at how William Ruto has transformed from a leader who we thought he was to a dictator. Before we begin, if you are watching this video for the first time, please take a second or two to subscribe to this channel, and please give this video a thumbs up. To our viewers who have subscribed, we thank you for your support, and please, we don't take that support for granted. We appreciate you. Now today, I will look at how William Ruto, a leader many Kenyans thought would be like them because he has gone through the sufferings that they have gone through, has turned out to be a dictator. And I will give you critical analysis of the early signs that are showing that William Ruto was destined and is destined to be a dictator in this country. First, to understand William Ruto, you need to look at his international friends. Because in Kenya, right now, he is the senior-most political leader in the country. And therefore, if you want to know him well, look at his peers globally. We know that for a long time, William Ruto has been a darling of Uganda, more so to Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. This has been his mentor for a very long time. And you can remember even there was a time when he was blocked from going to Uganda during political campaigns. So Museveni has been his friend for a very long time. Look at how Museveni has been ruling his country. It has been a rule that never ends. In fact, there are people who are born and have reached 30 years and they have never seen any other president except Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. As they say that friends tell who a person is, William Ruto is also a friend to Paul Kagame. While Paul Kagame is transformative in his country, he is a benevolent dictator who has ensured that he can grow his country through a one-man show. These tendencies of behaviors of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, behaviors of Kagame are with William Ruto. I will give you two of Kaguta Museveni's characters that William Ruto has. Look at his favorite color. His party color is yellow. If you look at the party color of NRM of Uganda, it is yellow. That tells you whom he is. Look at the nature of political party that William Ruto is forming. He has ensured that UDA, regardless of other coalition members, and this has been his call since the beginning, to ensure that we have a single party that is structured and institutionalized. While this is a good thing, there are instances, especially in Africa, when an established political party can be used to implement dictatorial policies. Another character of a dictator is that they rise to fame through populist ideas. Joseph Stalin of Russia, the then USSR, rose to power through rhetoric and populism of ideas that he used to coerce and rally Russians into accepting and buying into his ideas. This is one of the strategies that William Ruto has used. Look at the type of policies that he brings. He rose to power through the hustler narrative, telling people that it will be a bottom-up idea. And one thing that turns out is that the bottom-up idea was seriously a far-fetched idea that was only a tool for ascending to political power. For those who watched William Ruto in the weekend, where he went to a Thanksgiving meeting for the CS for Environment, William Ruto read a riot act to members of parliament. And he said that I want to see those members of parliament who will vote against this bill. By himself, he is there. He has understood that many Kenyans are opposed to this bill. But he has said that through hook and crook, his bill must pass. That was the first time in Kenya when a sitting president threatened openly parliament on how it makes its decisions. And one thing was outstanding for me is that in that meeting was the Speaker of National Assembly. In that meeting was the Speaker of the Senate. In that meeting was the Attorney General. These people are supposed to be impartial when it comes to implementation of the law. Look at how he got majority in parliament. At the election point, immediately when results were announced for all other seats except for the president, the tallying of members of parliament showed that Azimio had more members of parliament than Kenya Kwanza. In fact, it was like by 3 or 2. But when William Ruto got into power, the first thing he did was to co-opt independent members of parliament into his party. He also roped in UDM members of parliament, mostly from Northeastern. He also started to pick parties like MDG that were members of Azimio. He also went and poached some 9 ODM members and put them into his side. With this number on his side, William Ruto has a serious majority in the parliament. And therefore, he will have his ways, regardless of what we think. Even if there is an amendment that is supposed to be proposed in that finance bill, all that will be made will be according to what he wants. But whether we oppose it or not, he will implement his ideas. If we look at recent examples that William Ruto has been giving Kenya on how he wants to grow our country, he has given us China. He has talked about how China took 35 years to industrialize. He has talked about how Asian tigers like Singapore, Malaysia grew. He has also looked at how South Korea grew. But one denominator about these Asian tigers is that they had a benevolent dictator. William Ruto will be a dictator, and we must be prepared of this dictatorship that we have made upon ourselves. But one thing that all of us must do is to ensure that we remain vigilant and alert at all times. Because even in 2032, 2027, you will not remove him from power.